Good day, this is Mike Bruton. I'm the author of the book, What a Great Idea, Awesome South African Inventions. It'll be published by Jacana later this year. I couldn't join you, but I thought I would share with you some ideas on the book through this interview. I've always been interested in innovation, and even though I'm not an inventor, I think it's true to say that innovation has characterized my career in science research and science administration. So I'm approaching this book more from the perspective of a science educator than an inventor. The first idea for this book came about in 2004 when, as director of the MTN Science Centre, a science museum in Cape Town, we made an exhibition called Great South African Inventions, which was very popular and travelled throughout the country. I subsequently published a book based on the research for this exhibition, a book called Great South African Inventions, and that was also successful. And now 14 years or 12 years later, we've done another book and we've done another exhibition. The new book comprises 29 chapters, 350 odd pages, and it covers a large number, over 400 inventions by South Africans in South Africa or living abroad. It covers the work of more than 660 different inventors and also mentions over 180 innovation institutions and more than 150 innovation concepts, such as the innovation chasm, the innovation value chain, disruptive technologies, etc. The 29 chapters in the book cover a wide variety of subjects, not only the topics that you would normally associate with inventions, such as industry and mining and so on, but also topics that I believe will be of interest to a much greater audience. And if I could give you examples of some of them. We start with an essay on Africa, the bright continent, in which I argue that Africa, in fact, is one of the most innovative continents on the planet, and that the rate of technology uptake here is favorable, sometimes better than in many other continents. There's then an essay on the importance of ideas, because ideas are at the base, at the foundation of all inventions and innovations. And I talk about crazy ideas, good ideas, bad ideas, the role of millennials, of Generation X, Generation Y in this whole process. Then I start with pre-colonial inventions, before the European colonials arrived in South Africa, and there are many of them, some of them dating very far back. For instance, the very first abstract artwork, which was made from a piece of ochre, is from South Africa. The first counting device, the first bed known anywhere in the world, with plants used in the mattress, which have insect repellent properties. Also, the golden rind of Mapungubwe is mentioned as an example of how techniques have been developed for using gold plate. Throughout the book, there's a strong thread of the importance of indigenous knowledge, how the knowledge of African people has been used to make modern products. And for instance, in the food and in the drinks chapters, you'll find a lot of information about inventions derived from buchu and marula and kelp, and appetite suppressant from hoodie, rooibos and sugarbush tea, and so on. So from that point of view, the book has a very strong African and South African emphasis. I've also put a lot of emphasis on the stories behind innovations. So it's not just an encyclopedic list of inventions and inventors, but the story, the often heartbreaking story behind the inventors, where they failed and then eventually they persisted and succeeded. And I think one of the classic examples of that is Sandile Ngophe, who invented the first digital laser in the world, which totally revolutionized laser work. And that was just through dogged determination. When everyone else said it was impossible, he persevered and he eventually succeeded. There are, for instance, also chapters on home and garden, where I look at pool cleaning devices. I look at Claire Reed's real gardening system, various ways of living and gardening sustainably are dealt with. In the food section, I deal with foods derived from indigenous knowledge and also modern foods which have been developed in South Africa. In the drinks, I deal with wine and craft beers and gins and coffees, drinks derived from indigenous plants, and also the Malay influence and the African influence on our drinks and on our food. Health and medical is a very strong emphasis in the book. Right from the very beginning, we've been very innovative. One thinks of the plethysmograph, which is the first device for measuring blood pressure, through the techniques developed for the heart transplant, right through to the modern CAT scanner, breast imaging systems, and various wind-up medical products that have been developed in South Africa. Also grooming products. Even the current mayor of Johannesburg, Herman Mashaba, through his company Black Might Like Me, developed a number of grooming products that are quite innovative. Think also of Ludwig Marishani, who developed dry bath for use by people in water scarce areas for keeping themselves clean. Also under sport, we're a very sporty nation. It's inevitable that many sporting innovations have been made locally, so I go through them. And even toys and games, including modern computer games and games on smartphones. Our best contributions there are reviewed. In the communication section, we made very important early contributions to radio and also radar. And through that work, people like Trevor Wadley, arguably our greatest inventor, developed the tellurometer, which was the most accurate distance measuring device in the world for over 30 years. And it was eventually replaced by the infrared tellurometer, which was also developed in South Africa. And those were major international innovations which put us on the technology scene worldwide. I also talk about communications, for instance, African English, as they call it, all the slang words that we use and how we've mixed up different languages. The concept of Afrikaap, in other words, Afrikaans, is spoken in the Western Cape. South African Sign Language is mentioned. In the field of transport, there's a rich field to explore here. The first South African production car, the Protea, which was followed by the Flamingo and the Dart. Early contributions to railways such as the Sheffield Bogie, electric scooters. In air and space, the Yonkers famous sailplanes, Elon Musk's contributions to spaceflight are mentioned in detail. Under military and security, I start early with Sharka's innovative impies, his cowhide shields and short stabbing spears, the Boer guerrilla tactics that were used during the Anglo-Boer Wars, and the modern SAML vehicles, the Rooivalk, the Cheetah jet fighter, etc. The space science and astronomy section is a very exciting section. Here I review the multiple of satellites that we put into space, also the giant SALT project, Southern African Light Telescope, and now the new SKA project, the Square Kilometre Array, one of the biggest science projects in the world, which is a radio telescope, and itself is the source of an enormous amount of innovation. Towards the end of the book, there are chapters on how to be a great inventor. There's a chapter which pulls the threads of the book together and basically reinforces the argument that we are on the bright continent. There are a number of appendices in the book. There's a glossary to explain technical terms that have been used, and there's a very comprehensive index which allows you to access information. The book is extremely well illustrated, and it's been designed in a way that will make it exciting to read, not only from cover to cover, but also to dip into it in the style that one would use the Guinness Book of Records, for instance. So we are confident that this is a book that every South African and every visitor to South Africa will want to have, to share, to generate discussion, to settle arguments, and basically to enlighten themselves about how innovative a nation we really are, and how they themselves in their everyday life and in their professional life can also be innovative. So I hope you enjoy the book. We think we've hit the mark with it, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you.